President Trump is set to attend the National Prayer Breakfast later today in Washington, D.C. You'll see it live at 8 a.m. So a year after he was placed in office, what do religious leaders think of Trump's accomplishments when it comes to religious liberty?
Let's ask that. Let's ask the president of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference, Reverend Samuel Rodriguez. Thank you so much, Reverend, for being with us. What does the faith-based community think of the White House, and are they supporting the faith-based community the way you'd hope that they would?
Listen, regardless of your political affiliation, we can't deny the following. Arguably, President Trump has done more to defend religious freedom than any other president. You would have to go back to Ronald Reagan to see this constant commitment of protecting religious freedom and freedom of conscience, beginning with the executive order in May of last year in the Rose Garden, followed up with the Justice Department memo in October, and with the appointment of my friend Sam Brownback as the ambassador for international religious freedom. It's been one firewall protecting religious freedom. It makes my job easier to preach the gospel of Jesus.
Sure. Samuel, it shouldn't surprise anybody, though, because when he was running as a candidate, Donald Trump said he would do everything he could to protect religious liberty.
Yeah, but he's bent over backwards, to be very forthright. There's a continual meta-narrative to make sure that religious freedom is protected. Listen, we can't deny the fact that we were living in an era before, as it pertains to the curtailment of religious freedom in America. Hobby Lobby, Sisters of the Poor, different legislative pieces emerging in different states that would have silenced my voice to advance the gospel of grace and truth. So it's a new day indeed.
Yeah, putting the judges in place. I know that's very important to a lot of Christians.
Indeed.
So the Eagles quarterback, Carson Wentz, who had to sit out this year after an injury, they won the Super Bowl. There's a picture of him. He's going to be speaking in place of the vice president, who is currently in South Korea.
It seems like it. And by the way, I'm originally from Pennsylvania, from the Lehigh Valley. So go Eagles. And Carson Wentz has such an incredible faith voice and a voice of truth and grace and love. So I think it's a blessing indeed. We're going to miss the vice president, but it's a blessing indeed.
Sure. Because you are the president of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Council, just curious about whether or not you support this president, clearly on religious liberty, but what about his immigration plan? Because there are a number of Hispanic leaders who don't like it.
Look, we've had constant conversations with the White House. I've interacted with the president on the matter, and here it is. His proposal, especially with the 1.8 million dreamers that would become citizens, I would deem it as the quintessential olive branch from President Trump as it pertains to a domestic policy issue thus far. The quintessential olive branch. Wow. He surprised absolutely everyone. Not 680,000 dreamers, but 1.8 million dreamers. Now it's up to Congress to finally get the ball across the goal line and make this a reality. But I commend him for exhibiting what I would call prophetic courage in expanding the number of individuals that would become legal citizens via the conduit of his proposal.
There are a number of Democrats, though, who say that, you know, if you support that four-pillar plan, sure, you get a DACA for 1.8 million people who are in this country.
Which should be the priority.
Well, that is the priority of Democrats, but then end chain migration, do something about the visa lottery system, and also build the wall. Democrats say, look, the Republicans get everything they want, or at least the president does, and the Democrats don't get as good a deal ultimately.
Yeah, but it's up to the Congress right now to negotiate, to work with the White House. Again, the fact that the president did bend over backwards, and I mean with significant pushback from certain segments in his own party, speaks accolades to his commitment to making sure that these individuals are not harmed. When I have had conversations with the president on the matter, he always brings up the issue that he is both a father and a grandfather. And he speaks to the issue of dreamers, as he called it, a love agenda, with great compassion to me personally. So I hope and pray Congress really gets this done. If not, then Congress is responsible for playing with the emotions of over 1.8 million people again. It's not the first time they've done this.
All right, Samuel Rodriguez, thank you for joining us, Reverend. Enjoy
Thank you for having me.